Product management. Successful product owners keep customer satisfaction in the front of their minds. They understand the needs and wants of the end users. A product is a vehicle to deliver value. Every product has a producer and a customer. The customer may be just the user. Product management is an essential practice for the product owner. Project mindset defines success from the inside out using internal measurements like scope, time, and budget. This leads to less business involvement, more handoffs, more people management, and more task management. Product mindset is an outside-in approach that uses external measurements like user adoption, retention, revenue, and cost saving per feature to actively guide the development of the product to maximize value. Benefits are encourages more frequent releases, which results in quicker feedback from the marketplace. Communicates objectives instead of tasks. Teams get more creative with their solutions and take more ownership over their plans. Eliminates waste by depending less on task assignments, reporting, and management decisions. The 3 V's vision creates transparency. Value provides something to inspect. Validation causes adaptation. Process validation is about inspecting and adapting how the Scrum team is working. Product validation is about inspecting and adapting what the Scrum team is building. Product development is complex. The best way to deal with complexity is to work empirically, apply empiricism. Reduce risk by releasing small increments frequently. Perform experiments to validate the needs of the end users. You can use practices like MVPs, minimum viable products, landing pages, measure pre-order or sign-up conversion rate, surveys, and more. Product owner stages. Based on the authority and responsibility, there are 5 stages of the product owner. The scribe, someone on the technology side with little to no decision-making ability, who has been tasked with capturing requirements. The proxy, someone seen as a representative of the business like a business analyst or system analyst who may create an unnecessary indirection. The business representative, someone from the business side with limited autonomy over product management. The sponsor, someone who spearheaded the initial business case, acquired the budget and has the trust and the mandate to make financial and product decisions on the spot. The entrepreneur, someone who is spending their own money to fund the development of the product. They have complete responsibility for overall product management decisions for both business and IT. Both the scribe and proxy are on the receiving side of what goes into the product. They get told what to do. At best, they work out the details. The business representative, sponsor, and entrepreneur are more on the initiating side of the product. Because of their deeper business understanding and their two-way communication, they develop stronger customer empathy. This empathy allows them to initiate rather than simply receive the right requirements. To evolve to levels of sponsor and entrepreneur, you have to be proactive and take ownership of the success of the product. Misunderstood stances of product owner. The clerk, no authority. Never says no. All requirements go to the product backlog. The story writer, focused on details. Primary responsibility, writing PBIs. The manager, concerned with individual performance management. Interferes with the agile concept of self-management. The project manager, micromanages the developers. Breaks Scrum rules, for example daily Scrum as a status meeting. Focus on metrics that have to do with output and not the outcome. The subject matter expert, withhold information. Reduces transparency. Ego may get in the way of work. The gatekeeper, the single point of contact. Reduces transparency. May dilute feedback. Product owner stances. The visionary. Great pose. Apply the visionary stance. The vision may improve over time. Usually, this happens when the Scrum team acquires a better understanding of the customers and their needs. Champion the future state, possibilities, goals, and chances. Communicate the product vision, strategy, and product goal. Understand value and pricing models. By communicating the product vision early and often, the PO creates better alignment between the Scrum team and stakeholders. Having a compelling vision statement is inspiring and motivating. Customer representative. Great POs apply the customer representative stance. The PO focuses on customer satisfaction and product usage. These two metrics help us understand if the value, to customers, is being delivered. Focus on understanding customer problems, pains, and opportunities. Get into the mindset of the customer, place yourself in their world, and understand their needs. Deliver value by connecting product features to the customer outcome. The satisfaction gap is the difference between what customers experience now and their desired experience. The bigger the gap, the more unrealized value, there is. Great POs focus more on outcomes, what the customer experiences, rather than outputs and activities, hash of releases, time spent writing code, velocity, etc. Decision maker. Great POs apply the decision maker stance. Focus on making better decisions. Navigate conflicting customer feedback. Be decisive but not arrogant. Back your decision with information. Delayed decisions often lead to delayed delivery of value. Delegate responsibilities. Allow members of the Scrum team to make decisions. However, you must know what these decisions have led to because you are still responsible. If the organization the Scrum team works in hasn't adopted the agile way of working, the PO should collaborate with the SM. The goal is to reach level 4, sponsor, or 5, entrepreneur, in the maturity curve. Experimenter stance. Great POs apply the experimenter stance. Focus on innovation through experiments, hypotheses, tests, learnings, data, and validation of value. Understand the product owner's role in a scaled environment. Every feature or product requirement is a hypothesis about value. The only way to know for sure is to validate it with the marketplace. The experiment loop, from the EBM guide, helps the organization move toward intermediate and strategic goals. Form a hypothesis for improvement. Run your experiments. Inspect your results. Adapt your goals and approach based on what you've learned. Do one, or few, experiments at a time. You do not want too many moving parts while experimenting. Influencer stance. Stakeholder management is a process and one of the most important responsibilities of the product owner. To manage stakeholders effectively, conduct a stakeholder analysis. First, identify your key stakeholders. Second, prioritize your stakeholders. Third, understand your stakeholders. Use tools and models like DISC, spiral dynamics, and more. Lead the stakeholders, customers, and Scrum team to move in the right direction and to change their minds, when necessary. Learn how to create a stakeholder management strategy. Collaborator stance. Practice active listening. Listen to understand and respect different opinions. Seek collaboration with stakeholders and the Scrum team. Be sincere and appreciative of the work others do. Be transparent and open. This will help you build trust. Trust is the cornerstone of the Scrum. Values. Work beyond the Scrum team, including contracts, finance, budgeting, and governance in an agile way. Product vision and product strategy. A product vision describes the long-term desired outcome for your product. Effective vision inspiring, All who help to implement it should feel inspired. Strategically sound, that is, you have a decent shot at making it happen. Documented, you need to write your vision down to make it work. Communicated, not only do you have to document your vision, but you have to tell people about it too. A good vision needs to be focused, emotional, practical, and pervasive. It will not emerge over time. The product owner is accountable for creating and communicating the product vision. The product strategy answers the question, how will the product succeed? The business strategy answers the question, how will the business succeed? Sprint planning offers an excellent opportunity to remind your team of the vision. The sprint review is an opportunity to reinforce the vision not just with your team, but with your stakeholders. The sprint retrospective is your opportunity to inquire about the effectiveness of your vision communications. Visualize the product strategy. The product vision board allows you to create a simple agile product strategy. And it has 5 sections: vision, target group, needs, product, business goals. Always put the users and their needs first. Collaborate with the rest of the team and key stakeholders when working on the product vision board. Visualize the business model. The business model canvas describes, designs, or invents business models systematically. It is a great tool to help the Scrum team and stakeholders understand a business model in a straightforward and structured way. The business model canvas consists of 9 sections, or building blocks. Customer segments: who will get value from your product? Who is your buyer? Who is your consumer? Individual users, groups, personas, or any relevant stakeholders. Value propositions: who are your customers? What are their needs, and how does your product address them? Channels: channels are how you intend to get your value propositions to your customers. Advertising? Word of mouth? Search engine? Training? Customer relationships: this is about retaining your customers and possibly introducing them to add value propositions. How do you keep them coming back for more? Should you put a loyalty program in place? Maybe a newsletter? Revenue streams: how do your value propositions generate revenue? What and how much are your customers willing to pay? Licensing? Membership fees? Advertising? Key activities: uncover the activities you will have to invest in. What will you need to do to make these value propositions a reality? This involves due diligence activities such as market research, legal feasibility, and possibly even patent registration. Key resources: what you need to have. This includes people with the right skills, equipment, offices, tools, and many more. Key partners: to better focus on your customers and value propositions, there are some things you simply should not do yourself even if you have the ability and money to do them. For example, hardware providers, service providers, distributors, and similar partners. Cost structure: identify major investments needed to make this product a reality. Take this opportunity to make these costs explicit. Visualize product goals. Product roadmaps visually communicate the steps, product goals, toward the product vision. Use product roadmaps to stay focused on the product goals and outcomes. Collaborate with the stakeholders when creating a product roadmap. Product roadmaps increase transparency and alignment. Product roadmaps are not static. Inspect and adapt as you go. Various formats for product roadmapping exist. The most famous are the goal-oriented product roadmap, the now next later roadmap, the story map. Cone of uncertainty: the cone of uncertainty is about the fact that uncertainty is highest at the beginning of the project, and reduced as we progress. This uncertainty can be about the duration, requirements, etc. Key performance indicators, key value areas and key value measures. The organization knows that a product built through Scrum is successful by releasing often, updating key performance indicators, KPIs, on value after every release, and feeding this information back into the work on the product backlog. Scrum teams deliver products iteratively and incrementally, maximizing opportunities for feedback. If a product isn't released, the opportunity to capture user and market feedback is lost. There are 4 KVA categories that a product owner considers to measure and track the creation and delivery of value to the marketplace. Current value reveals the organization's actual value delivers to customers and stakeholders in the marketplace at present. Current value establishes the organization's current context but has no relevance to an organization's ability to sustain value in the future. It helps to understand the value that their customers or users experience today. KVMs for CV are revenue per employee, product cost ratio, employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction, and customer usage index. Unrealized value reveals the potential future value that could be realized if the organization met the needs of all potential customers or users. Decrease UV, future benefits, by increasing CV, present benefits. KVMs for UV are market share, customer or user satisfaction gap, and desired customer experience or satisfaction. Time to market evaluates the organization's ability to deliver new features, functions, services, and products. Without actively managing time to market, the ability to sustainably deliver value in the future is unknown. Improving T2M helps improve the frequency at which an organization can potentially change CV. KVMs for T2M are build and integration frequency, release stabilization period, mean time to repair, customer cycle time, lead time for changes, deployment frequency, time to restore service, time to learn, time to remove impediment and time to pivot. Ability to innovate the effectiveness of an organization to deliver new capabilities that might better meet customer needs. It helps in improving the value that its products or services deliver to customers or users. KVMs for A2I is innovation rate, defect trends, on-product index, installed version index, technical debt, production incident count, active product, code, branches, time spent merging code between branches, time spent context switching and change failure rate. Value delivery. Value could be difficult to define and it has different aspects. However, I suppose we have to focus on these definitions. Value is the financial benefit the organization receives. Value is the societal benefit the society receives. Value is customer satisfaction or happiness. Value is employee satisfaction or happiness. Value for customers is an assumption until validated with those customers. Increase the chance of product success and value delivery by using customer personas and the value proposition canvas. These practices allow you to position your product around the needs and want of your customers. Product life cycle. The product life cycle has 4 stages: introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. If a product is near the end of its life cycle, low UV and high CV, keep maintaining it, but look for opportunities, new products, for future growth, high UV. Improve your product cost ratio, T2M, and A2I by eliminating waste and non-value added activities from the product development and delivery process. If a product is during a decline stage, sales are declining, do not rely on marketing and pricing. Tactics to generate more sales. Look for new opportunities. Improve the organization's T2M by releasing small increments that deliver new or improved customer outcomes. Pricing strategies and competitors. Many pricing strategies exist. Some common ones are freemium pricing, price skimming, market penetration pricing, premium pricing, economy pricing. When making decisions regarding price increases or decreases, consider many factors such as competitors' pricing, market share, customer satisfaction, unmet needs, improved customer outcomes, value, are a valid reason for a price increase. Releases and validation. To validate customer value, it is recommended to release early and often. The product backlog contains all information related to release planning. Use MVPs, minimum viable product, to validate product ideas. Run small experiments to validate customer needs. Not all releases are equal, some of them are minor, major, desirable, non-desirable. Scrum doesn't tell us when to release. The product owner is not the release decision maker anymore. Stakeholder and product backlog management. Stakeholder management always acknowledge the viewpoints of stakeholders, but a product owner cannot satisfy everyone. Sometimes, you have to say no to stakeholders. Be decisive and respectful. When appropriate, help stakeholders by running small experiments to validate their ideas. Product backlog management. The product owner is accountable for product backlog management. In Scrum, the product backlog is the plan for the product. The product owner orders the PBIs in the product backlog to maximize the value of the product. While ordering, the product owner considers value, risk, cost, and dependencies. It is a myth that the product owner has to write all PBIs in the product backlog. The product owner may choose to delegate. The product backlog should be transparent to all Scrum team members and stakeholders. Scaling product owner accountability. Multi-team development, scaling, of one product happens as follows: 1 product backlog, 1 product owner, 1 product goal. At any given time, the PO delegates product management activities to the developers. Scrum does not require the members of the Scrum teams to work full-time on one product. All Scrum teams must mutually define and comply with the same definition of done. The core design and ideas of Scrum do not change. Get good at doing Scrum before you scale it. Increment. Scrum teams should never release or review incomplete work. When the sprint is over, the incomplete PBIs go back to the product backlog. If the developers cannot meet their forecast for several sprints, consider the following. The PO should be available to discuss work with the developers. The SM could help the developers improve their ability to forecast work. If the developers cannot meet their forecast for several sprints, we should not do the following. Blame the developers. Replace low-performing developers with high-performing developers. Add more developers to the team. Information radiators. Progress measurement is mandatory in Scrum. The PO measures the progress of the project once per sprint to ensure value is being delivered. The burndown chart shows the remaining work across time. The trend line is simply a forecast, an assumption when the project will end if there are no changes in scope and number of developers. The burn-up chart shows the complete work and total work. Changes in the scope are clearly seen. For your exam, remember that charts or diagrams are not mandatory. Types of contracts. The PO revises the budget at least once per sprint to ensure value is delivered. Generally, that's at the end of the sprint. Some contract types are supportive of agility, while others are not. Traditional fixed-price contract type has a fixed scope, which means that upfront planning is required. This is against the Agile principles and beliefs. Traditional fixed-price contracts limit agility, but it is still possible to execute product development. A better approach would be to use an Agile fixed-price contract type because it supports empiricism. The time and material contract type is also great for Scrum and Agile. Software risk item by frequency and last responsible moment. Misunderstanding of requirements, lack of top management commitment and support, organizational environment, lack of adequate user involvement, failure to gain user commitment, failure to manage end-user expectations, user changes to requirements, lack of an effective project management methodology, planning and control, last responsible moment, LRM, a strategy of not making a premature decision but instead delaying commitment and keeping important and irreversible decisions open until the cost of not making a decision becomes greater than the cost of making a decision.